Welcome back to Learn Astrology with Mary. My name's Mary English, and today we've got a fantastic guest. We have Rod Chang, and we're going to have a little chat with him. So I'm going to introduce Rod. So Rod has over 20 years astrological experience. He studied at the Faculty of Astrological Studies in London and has expanded his knowledge through home study and practice. He specialises in mundane astrology and favours a humanistic approach to astrology. He's taught Western astrology in Mandarin for over 10 years and has authored 7 astrology textbooks in Chinese. Rod has also been the in-house astrologer on 3 seasons on a popular daytime TV show in Taiwan. Since 2015, he's spoken at several international conferences in Poland, in the UK, and most recently 2016 Australia, beg your pardon, FAA International Astrology Conference, and he's co-founded the Academy of Astrology opening in Taiwan and Hong Kong before expanding into China and Japan. He's also the founder of the newly launched Academy of Astrology UK, bringing AOA to English-speaking students of astrology. He is also a trustee of the Astrological Association of Great Britain. Welcome, Rod. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, Mary.
So I want to know a little bit about how you even got into astrology to start with. So where did it start for you? Take me right back to the beginning.
Okay, right from beginning is about I think it's the family background, my childhood. My father, he was a kind of amateur, like so, um, amateur Chinese astrologer.
Hmm.
So he loved so-called Chinese astrology. And in his spare time, I remember he always trying to delineate chart for relative or some client. But that is totally very different. I think even today, I will not call it astrology, but it's kind of a divination art
Hmm.
that have an idea about the stars, but in the way calculation and it's not exactly calculation, the exact star in the sky.
Hmm.
So that was very interesting in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, very popular in Asian culture, very popular called 紫微斗数, which all the name are the stars, but they when you have a chart, it look like a astrological chart, 12 house,
Yeah.
but nothing nothing really related to the stars or planet in the sky.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So that's very interesting, but a lot of people thought that is a astrology anyway. But and he also has a whole series of books. He read a whole series of books about all the different divination art in the world. So I was picked up from the tarot card when I was 12 years old,
Wow.
and then astrology, like sun sign astrology. And another thing was that in Taiwan, so-called astrology or sun sign astrology was super popular while I grew up. There was a program in the radio station, and then soon you can see them on the TV. So I was like, I'm into astrology, and I used to be very shy, so I lack of a so-called social skill.
Hmm.
But astrology gave me a little bit more confidence and created some dialogue opportunity with my classmates. Yeah, so that become slowly. I'm more and more into astrology. Then I started to grab a book from library to learn how to calculate the chart. Like the first book was Parker's Astrology.
Oh,
For
Parker's.
a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of
I haven't
yeah,
actually read
yeah,
it. I know it's very famous, but can you believe this? I'm
yeah.
so naughty. I haven't read it. And he just passed recently as well.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
and I was so lucky. I met him in Australia. And you can imagine
Oh,
how I was excited, how I react.
yeah.
Yeah, when I saw them. Yeah,
Superstar. Ah.
yeah, yeah,
So you had a lot of divination going on when you were younger. Yes. I mean, because in Chinese astrology, they have the whole year, because I think I'm a metal rat. So
yeah,
that's the whole year that I was born, starting on the first day of the year, which isn't 1st of January, it's a little bit
yeah.
later. But that's Chinese astrology. But was he doing that type of astrology where you're the animal or not?
No,
No.
totally different, totally different. Yeah, the another way of the call as Chinese astrology is about how we counting the year, right? With 12 animal and with 10 so-called five element and plus yin and yang, the
Mm,
positive, negative, or feminine and masculine.
hmm.
So that composes a 60-year cycle. That is totally 60-year
60.
cycle. And that was
Uh,
very interesting. Yeah, that is kind of part of a um, Chinese divination art that I only know surface.
mm.
But the way my father practices is really a way of a divination art that look like astrology. Maybe they have an influence from so-called a Vedic way to calculate those like
Okay.
harmonic and you move the things around. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. I really have no study yet. Yeah.
Yeah, because Vedic astrology again is very different to Western astrology because they're doing the location of the stars, whilst we're doing the
Yeah.
planets, and we got the precession of the equinoxes and blah de blah de blah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you get to study then? So how did that even manifest? So were you still in Taiwan when you decided to
Yes.
go to the faculty? Oh, so you must have been on an aeroplane all the time.
No. Okay, let me explain. I was beginning with the self-taught, so Parker's astrology, and so I owed a few books from our dear friend John, who used to run the Midheaven bookshop. Back
Yes.
to 1997, I owed a whole series, a lot of book, asked him to send me to Taiwan before I come to UK.
Hmm.
And then that kind of self-taught and learning the whole astrology with with like the only way you learn astrology or
Yeah.
those book. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then finally, well, in year 2003, I finally come to UK. I first went to France, get my
Hmm.
MA degree in France. And
Oh,
then
blimey, what
I
did you? I
decided
didn't know you got an MA. Stop. What have you got an MA in?
sociology.
Sociology. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
the interesting way I finally chose sociology was because just few years before I went to France, a there was a French astrologer. He gained his sociology degree
Hmm.
with the astrology theme about the study astrology's impact in society. So
Mm.
I was like, oh, maybe I should also pursue this knowledge about sociology. That's why I went to France, study sociology, and get an MA degree there. And then I finally say, well, you know what? Nothing else to do. I finished my MA degree. What should I do? And I say, I'm still an astrologer, and I love astrology. I want to take this as my career.
Hmm.
So I say, why not while I'm in Europe, really pursue some profound story knowledge about astrology. Then I finally say, okay, let me go to, faculty because most people in Europe know that is the one of the great school in astrology. And I was so happy I came here and I met so many tutor, my mentor and tutors. Like I learned from them. Yeah, that
Oh,
really changed
cool.
my life.
Yeah. And so, did you teach at the faculty as well?
Um, as a guest tutor
Yeah.
eventually. Eventually, yeah, as a guest tutor, I think that was a kind of a dreams come true, to be honest. Because I when I was when I was studying faculty, and I think there's a 1 year Carol Taylor, the president that time, asked me, say, "Oh, do you want to teach in a summer school?" I said, "Really?"
Hmm.
I was so excited and I said yes. I was so nervous. I was so nervous that year.
Oh, and then you're also because you know about the stars as well and the
Hmm.
night sky because I have been out recently looking Venus, Jupiter
Oh
and
yes.
yeah. But you take photographs as well, so you chase the planets, so to speak. So you've got an interest in the stars and the planets, yeah. So because you've lectured on those things as well. So tell our listeners a little bit about what is mundane astrology. I don't practice it. I know a bit about what it is. So explain, give us a little explanation
Yeah,
of
sure.
mundane, yes?
Okay. The first, the the stargazing one is totally, I think, go together with my astrology study. I always love looking at the night sky.
Mm.
And then I was like, there are a few times I wondering, just like, say, what is that stars? And some people would say, you are an astrologer. Why you don't know what star it is? I think, oh, shame on myself. I should know. So
Hmm.
I start to like put a lot of attention in the night sky and how to do stargazing. That is not mundane astrology, but that is kind of a really, I really enjoy stargazing, and I encourage all the astrologer and all everyone who love astrology go to look at the night sky. I remember Benedict Bradley say, when you speak to the stars, they speak back to you. You will
Yes.
definitely get inspired. That's stargazing part. Mundane astrology. Well, mundane astrology use a very simple way to say is about use astrology to forecast the political, economic, and weather and climate change and you know social movement. All
Hmm.
this kind of big picture collective,
Hmm.
and
So it's
that
not individual, it's like big. Yes.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
collective,
Mhm.
more collective. Yes. Yeah, and I don't know. As I'm an Aquarius, and I like a big picture. I
Mhm.
like a big picture. So I think I realized that the coding of mundane astrology is like when every time there's some event, either disaster or either social movement,
Mm.
I can hesitate to go back to check the chart,
Yeah.
and I want to know where are the indications tell us we should be aware this might happen this year. And
Mm.
that kind of slowly, I think I realized, oh my God, I even when people talking about famous people,
Hmm.
some event happened to them, I'm kind of yeah, that's their personal life. That's me. Then, but when they say, okay, what happened in maybe say what happened in Ukraine. Oh, I will not stop. I start to gather all the information and what exact day I'm trying to find the exact date when they announce all this and that. And I couldn't stop, so I realized mundane astrology kind of is a calling for me.
Yeah, because it's about humanity, it's not about the individual. Yes.
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 It's also. I mean, every astrologer come into one subject for different reasons. But for
Mm.
me, it's about our humanity. It's about society.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah,
very Aquarius.
yeah.
Very, very Aquarius. And then, so, okay, so I've got to ask you the burning question. What house system do you use?
Ooh, Placidus,
Hmm.
Placidus. Yes. Should I explain?
No, no, don't worry. It's just that I've already explained it on the podcast, so
Yeah.
people do know the
Okay.
difference. It's just that I use Equal House, and they do know
Uh-huh.
about Placidus. So yeah, we don't have a problem with that. So that they're
Yeah.
listeners already understand it. And so
Cool,
when you're
cool.
constructing your charts, okay, so there's the question now. So what software do you use?
Oh, what software I use? I used to use Solar Fire
Hmm.
most of the time. And then now, because I use Mac systems, so I use their sister production, Astro Gold.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes, that's the lady
Yeah,
that's in Australia, isn't it? I
yeah.
think,
So
yes, I reviewed that.
they
Hmm.
develop both. They develop both system. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, because that's the trouble when you've got a Mac. There's hardly any software. There for years there was no software written for Macs because I've got a Mac as
Yes,
well, and it's like
I
everything's written for
know.
Windows. So annoying,
Yeah,
so annoying.
yeah.
Wrong. Okay, so you'll be interested in like disasters like plane crashes or wars or political unrest. So that sounds very much like Cosmos and Psyche by Richard Tarnas, which I presume you've
Hmm.
read.
Yes.
Right,
I
yeah.
think it is a such a great book and a very inspiring, very inspiring. I mean, find those event how it related to us
Mm.
and how it has the impact to people. Also, in a kind of a I maybe they didn't mention it, but I would like to think is when I study sociology, there is a branch called the collective sociology. So is how kind of a collective behavior and collective psychology.
Yeah.
So how the group, how the community or a society push an individual, have an impact into individual.
Hmm.
And I think for most mundane astrologer, even including me, when we were so busy, sometimes we are too busy to delineate what caused what planet caused this, what
Hmm.
planet has impact on this, and what planet movement will maybe, leading to another things. But I think Richard Tarnas and many of the, psychological astrologers,
Hmm.
they are able to find the common theme
Yeah.
underneath, and
Hmm.
that really, really give us relief or understanding. Well, let me give you an example. Our dear colleague Alejo Lopez,
Yeah.
he's like my brother, and then we work very intensive together. A couple of weeks ago, I invited him to give a webinar to my school, and then because I is we he was about talking about Neptune Saturn conjunction in the Aries,
Hmm.
but as he's a Jungian psychological training, he is able to find the deep layer theme behind. If I was going to talk, I would talk about, Neptune is dream, the Saturn is a realization. You make your dreams come true, or Neptune's bubble, you crush the bubble. All these kind of things easy to say, but he kind of go very very deep to find the meaning of ending and the grief. I was like, wow, I still need those training, like
Hmm.
Richard Tanas and those people who deep into the psychology and can offer something that it's quite powerful. So yes, I really highly recommend about the Rick Tanas. That book is amazing,
It
and
is incredible. You get halfway through it and you think, crikey, that really does relate. The aspects between the outer planets, and then we got revolutions and wars and the hippie
yes,
era and whatever. Woo, it is
yes,
quite incredible. And it went as far as it was made into a film at one point as well, which I
yes,
did watch, yeah, which was very, very interesting. So
indeed.
so how do you cope with having a moon in Gemini? So moon in Gemini, because I've got one as well. How do you
Yeah,
cope with your moon in Gemini? Because moon in Gemini wants a lot of change. Like you have had a lot of change, yeah. So what
I do.
happens? What happens if you don't have that change?
Ooh, I couldn't imagine that.
Right.
I couldn't imagine that. I think it's changed all the time. Change happen all the time.
Mm.
So if I am not allowed, I don't know. I maybe will try to find some creative way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will try to find some creative way in the tiny thing in the daily life.
Mm.
Maybe how I make my tea, or maybe
Yeah.
just change the way I drink my tea, or
Hmm.
change different tea, or maybe I think I will always trying to like it's not big change, it's
Mm.
tiny small things. If
Mm.
Because in another way, I have my sun in Aquarius and Venus in Aquarius.
Mm.
So I also have that routine, make me feel secure and comfortable.
Yeah.
But my moon in Gemini requires you need to have little bit change. You need to do something different.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think that moon in Gemini will come spontaneous
Yeah.
and invite me to maybe kind of make some creative change in the daily life. Most likely, I think I like cooking and I like food. So I always try to, change a little bit of things like that.
That's very important for Gemini to have lots of change, not
Yeah.
constant change, but change that you're doing yourself, not having other people change what you're doing, but the change that needs
Mm,
to come from within. Like if you're
yes.
if you came back to your house one day and it wasn't there, that would be a horrible sort of change, But you
Yeah.
making those changes yourself. And then also you've got Mercury in Pisces, okay?
Yes.
So Sun sign Aquarius, Mercury Pisces. Mercury Pisces is very into the mystical and the weird and wonderful and stuff, which astrology ticks that box beautifully. But I was sort of thinking, you've got Mercury in Pisces. How did you learn so much and get to an? Because I've got Mercury in Pisces, but mine's retrograde, and I was sort of thinking, it's a planet. It's a planet in a sign that probably doesn't like studying, unless there's something else in the chart that's going to allow that to happen. So, what would you say in your chart allowed you,
Okay.
yeah, to do the studies?
I think it is not only Mercury in Pisces. I agree. When I was kids, I couldn't deal homework. I couldn't deal the class things, the learning in the class.
Hmm.
That is really, really torturing my Mercury in Pisces. I think when I grew up, I find that the subject that I'm into it, history, literature, psychology, astrology mostly. And I think astrology is meant to be because nearly everything I study, if they related to astrology, I'm into it. Like when I go to study history, I tell my professor say I want to study in that time they don't want to call it the Middle East. They call it West Asia history, include Babylonian, beginning from Babylonia. I said I want to focus on that area.
Mm-mm.
And why not many people want to do that? I couldn't dare I wouldn't dare to tell them say because
Some
astrology. Anyway,
astrology.
so in my chart, I have Mercury in Pisces. He's on a T square with a Saturn in Gemini and Neptune in Sagittarius.
Oh, yes.
So
Okay. Yes.
so that kind of a why little bit. I think Mercury and the Saturn is a little bit wild old, but that T square I think hold me, you
Mm,
know, when I'm into something
mm.
or when I feel crazy about something, they really just like anchor me. That Saturn anchor me. Say, okay, do some work here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Saturn is definitely like, and you've got yours in Gemini as well. I mean, it's nowhere near your moon, it's not conjunct, but the Saturn's in Gemini, and then you've got your Neptune. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, in Sagittarius. So I don't have any Saggy planets, and the only reason I enjoy astrology is I made my learning as easy as possible. I didn't make it complex. My Mercury would have not
Amazing.
managed it. But my astrology is pretty limited. The majority of astrology I do is one-on-ones with clients, so it's more sort of therapy astrology
Hmm.
rather than technical astrology. I'm working with people, so that's the
Hmm.
difference for me. So what house is your sun sign in Placidus? 8 or 7 or 9?
Eight,
Eight.
eight
Okay, it's
house.
an equal house as well. Okay, so you're secretive.
Oh yes. I find that eighth house in the beginning, I was wondering, I was scared because most people take eighth house as a death.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I do, to be honest, I mean, if people who know me in my life, I think there's most of the time, every day, I will take a one moment to think about something related to death.
Mm. Mm.
When
Yes,
I
but
was a
also
little bit younger,
it's a secret house because I'm married
yeah,
to somebody with sun in the eighth, and I gave birth to somebody with sun in the eighth. The sun in the eighth is a shy house. It's
yeah.
not. I mean, I've got Leo ascendant, so I'm just not shy. Okay, forget that. I'm not shy. But you mentioned earlier that you were a shy child. Well, that would be the sun
I
in
am
the eighth.
very,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But you've developed over the years that astrology has allowed you to have the language to be able to speak. Is that right?
Yes, I think astrology build up a something I don't even know because Cancer rising and the Sun in eighth house, the Moon in 12th house. So I really, if I can avoid to give a public speech, I would
Hmm.
very happy to avoid it. But I don't know why. Eventually, I developed a persona. I can show myself in front of TV, national
Hmm.
TV, and stop
Mm.
talking, and just you couldn't stop me. I'm just blah 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 blah. I don't know how that come from. I still need to work out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that must have been amazing. So you were in a
Yeah.
studio for those TV programs, yes?
Yeah, when I was in Taiwan, the kind of I don't know where this come from. Then I host a 3 seasons talk show, and also related to astrology. So that was quite interesting experience. But I never want to go back again.
And so, okay, so one last question then. So, what advice would you give to a beginner astrologer that's learning? What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out learning astrology? What would be the advice?
Ooh, wow. I think my boring advice is focus on the basic.
Mm,
More solid base you build, you can fly higher, no matter you want to go technique or you want to go consulting,
mm,
therapeutic, because the enrich of a vocabulary, understanding of archetype and the symbol of planet, aspect, house, and sign are the fundamental. And then with those solid base, you can go anywhere.
mm. Oh, that's a lovely answer. Thank you very much, Rod.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on the podcast today. So people can
Thank you,
find you on your
Havni.
blog at rodchang.com. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then if you give me some other links, I'll put them on the show notes afterwards
Sure,
of people being
sure.
able to contact you. So it's been lovely speaking with you today. And I'll
Thank
see
you,
you at
Mary.
conference later on this
See
year.
you at the conference. Yes.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Rod, for being with us today. So, just to reiterate, to be able to contact Rod, you can find him at his website, rodchang.com. That's rodchang.com. And the Academy of Astrology that he co founded, their address is academyofastrology.co.uk. And we're spelling that ACADEMYOFASTROLOGY.co.uk. So I hope you have a fab week, and if you've managed to reverse engineer last week's chart, or you've got any thoughts about setting up your own practice, then do get in contact. It's Mary at maryenglish.co.uk. Bye bye now.